Okay, everybody, we are live. How's everybody doing tonight? I am flying solo. Can y'all hear me? I got a dog attacking me down here. Indiana Mike, how's it going? I am flying solo because my dear lovely wife is laid up with whatever that crud is going around. So she's not feeling well. She's in there on the recliner watching the boob tube right now, hacking away. That's why I'm in the office right now. Let's see who else is in here. And there's Miss Pat Wiley. How are you today, Miss Pat Wiley? Jonathan showed up. Going to be in the 20s down here this week. Got to get my garden covered up soon. Gee, 20s. That's going to be, well, Thursday or Friday. That may be, including wind chill, about 60 degrees warmer than what we are. I doubt if it's going to get that cold, but that's what they're forecasting on the news. But anyway, everybody around here is treating it like it's the next coming of the ice age. We'll hang out for a little bit and see if some more people show up. Uh, Joseph G, how are you tonight? Hope everybody had a good week. Hope everybody had a good week. It's going to be, I honestly, with Yoda not being here, I honestly don't know how long we're going to go. Uh, just got a little bit of updates. There's Mrs. Hacks. How are you today? Uh, like I said, being by myself, we'll just do some updates and then talk about some things that crossed my mind today that I thought were kind of pertinent. There's Cindy Northam. How you doing? Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. All right. Let's talk about what went on around here this week. Start off Thursday night. We had our conflicted show. My better half, Miss X, my better half is laid up with that respiratory thing. That she's had it since yesterday, and she's not feeling well. She's in there. She's got a really hacking cough, and she just wasn't really up to it tonight. So I'm flying solo. You guys are gonna have to put up my ugly mug for a little while. It's not that bad, is it? Anyway, so we did our conflicted live on Thursday, and I thought it went pretty well. Mr. Hacks was up on the panel, and Andrew from Tabletop Farm was there, and Bullet from Nowhere Homestead, and we even had a special guest. Milkmaid came up. She's from Virginia. She came up for it on a little while, but her her internet isn't the best, so she was kind of on and off. And then poor Andrew, he forgot to charge his phone up, so he had to drop off early. But I think we had fun. Mr. Hacks, what do you think? Did you enjoy yourself? You know, but I think from the feedback I got, I think we are going to do that probably once a month. Hey, Skeens girl, RN, how you doing? People checking in, still checking in. I started about a couple minutes early. That's my fault. But yeah, Hex said he thought it went great. It was fun. I've got a different deck to work off next month, and I was looking. I may purchase a couple more decks after the turn of the year, but it went well. Um, the next big thing was Yoda did the flea market at the tribal nation that I work for. They had that. It was 3 days, and they said that it was the worst flea market that they had in recent memory. And Yoda and another lady were the two top sellers. They did the best out of everybody that was there, and she made enough to cover the expenses. It wasn't compared to other things that we've done. We really didn't make that much money, but for what a small event it was, and how yeah, low turnout. It was low turnout, Jonathan. Uh, they they get their per cap checks, and they were late, and then it was cold, and it was going on Christmas, and there's just a whole bunch of different factors, and they think it'll be better next quarter. But yeah, she did really well. The lady who runs the place uh, told her she was going to put her closer to the main aisle and the door uh, uh, next year. Yeah, Hack's got three three sewing machines for $5. Have you tried them out? Did they run yet? Or have you checked them out yet? Do they run? Do you know? But they were one was one of those Singer cabinet machines that folds. One my mother had. It was really kind of cool. And then there was another more industrial looking one, and then an old one in a plastic case. But for $5 each, if you got one of them that works, and he can hypocrites insert witty pseudo intellectual argument. So he's got one running so far. If Darren can't fix it, nobody can, folks. But no, for $5, if he can get one running, sell it for 30, he's doubled his investment there. But that's what we're always looking for. Um, this weekend was just kind of Yoda was finishing up the flea market, and I spent all day Saturday working around the yard and getting stuff cleaned up, getting ready for the weather that's coming in. Hey, Tag. Yeah, she's still down. She's looking pretty rough. She's not on death's door or anything, but she's looking pretty rough right now. She sounds pretty rough, but we'll be okay. She'll survive. God, good Lord, folks. I went up. She wanted some saltine crackers and some 7-Up to take care of her stomach, and she's right. I have not been to the store enough recently. I spent over $5 at Dollar Tree for a 2 liter of ginger ale and a box of saltine crackers, the Cloverfield, the Dollar General ones, not the expensive saltines, but the cheap ones. But yeah, so I have not been to the store enough recently because I was kind of shocked. And then they were completely out. They didn't have any 7-Up, and they had very few Pepsi products, and there were empty shelves all over the place, and it was bad. It was bad. I think I may, next time I'm up in the local town, I may drop by the store there and see what it's like there, just so I can be shocked. But always learning stuff. Always learning stuff. What else went on? We lost another beloved member of the family. Gizmo we had a very, very bad accident Thursday night, and it was bad. And she's gone. She was our companion for 15 years, you know, and it's hard. It's another one of those things that you just deal with. These things happen, and I'm not going to say it was. I don't know if it was avoidable or not the way it happened. I really don't want to talk about it, but but she was a good dog. Speaking of dogs, Friday or Saturday, I think. I think it's Saturday. When's Christmas Eve? Saturday. Um, we're gonna go pick up the new puppy, and the new puppy is actually Freya's niece, the border collie that we had. Her brother from the same litter had puppies 8 weeks ago, and we're gonna go pick her up. Pick her up this weekend, and her brother did not have any of the health problems that Freya had. So we're hoping everything's going to be okay with this dog. Yoda just posted something. I'm not sure what that is. Oh, she's trying to post a picture of the dog. Let me see if I can. No, sorry, doesn't work. She just retracted it. But it's a cute dog. She's got the same exact markings as what Freya did, and but she's gray and she's got blue eyes. Life Done Free sent me. They said this is the best channel on YouTube. Oh, Bessie, thank you very much. Tag's a liar, but we love him anyway. We're the second best because Tag and B are better than we are. And it's just the whole animal thing. It's just one of those. It's just one of those things you learn to deal with. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't been this upset about something since my mom passed away. Because she was a big part of the life, and you just deal with it. You know what scares me though, and I don't know if I've said this to you guys before. I don't know if I've told you this. The all these things have been happening through 2022 has sucked personally. I I have not been very happy this year. There's been a lot of emotional roller coaster rides this year for me, and I'm not. It's that's not really something I'm used to dealing with. And each one of these little losses just seem to be worse and worse and worse. Hitting closer to the heart, and it really kind of scares me that we are being tempered for something that's coming down the road. And if you're a Christian, you understand what I mean. We're our faith is tempered in fire, and this is how we become harder and not harder, but more able to cope with stuff. And it really kind of scares me for what may be on the way. I'm not going to lie, and not scares me. Scares not the right word, because I do have faith, and I don't think that we'll be given any more than we can handle. But man, I just this whole being tested thing and having to handle stuff kind of sucks sometimes. Not gonna lie, you know. But we'll get out. RN said it's supposed to get down to 9 degrees here on Friday in Alabama. Oh, that's crazy. That's terrible for you guys. And like I told Jonathan earlier, 9 degrees on Friday is probably gonna be about 30 degrees higher than our wind chill factor is at that point. And come Friday afternoon, we're probably going to be wishing it was 9 degrees. And that was one of the things. That's one of the things I did this weekend. I was getting stuff ready. I topped off all the feeders and the water troughs. I know where the trough heater is. I'm not going to break it out yet. I don't like really using it because the one we have doesn't have a regulator on it, and when it gets hot, it'll boil the water off if it's too warm. If it's like not 10 below freezing, it'll literally boil the water off because it gets so hot. So I got to wait till it gets colder, and I got a big thing of ice in there. But I did that, and I put new hay in the chicken coop and filled up all the nesting boxes so they're nice and warm. And then I got some hay into the loafing shed tonight. Went and got a new hay bale, so they've got brand new hay bale to last the week. I checked all the outside sides. It was so cold today that the outside freeze-proof faucet, I had to crank on the handle to get it up and get it to work this afternoon. So I got buckets that I can bring in here and fill up if I need to. Just a whole bunch of different things. And if I was going to talk about different winter preparations, but Kentucky Sustainable Living just posted a really good video like an hour ago. Here, let me post the link. So there's the link to the video. The weather that we have, and we're not going to have the weather. I was talking with Tag yesterday, and he said that up not too far north from us in Nebraska, it's going to be the coldest place on the planet over the next couple of days, or has the potential. RN, ouch, minus 27 ought to be illegal. You know what though? To be honest with you, once it gets down, and maybe this is just me. I don't know. Somebody tell me I'm full of it. Uh, Once it gets down to like -10, whether it's the wind chill or just the temperature itself, once it gets down that low, anything below that just really doesn't. I can't tell a difference. Speak of the devil, Kentucky Sustainable Living just got here. I just popped the link for your video into the chat there, Kentucky, pointing everybody to your video you just put up. That was a good video. I really enjoyed it. He said he's getting his freeze dryer running. You know what? That will, believe it or not, having the freeze dryer running will help warm your house up. If it's in your house, ours is inside the house right now, so it'll help us up. Yeah, North Dakota at -70, and I can honestly say I've never been that cold, so I don't know. I know at -31 when you're outside working for 8 hours, it's no different than -10. I did that a couple of years ago. Tech says, get good with it now, and you have another side hustle. I missed it. Oh, or sewing machine. There you go. There you go. Learn it. Learn that second skill. Uh, Yoda says it's global warming, global weirding. Hippocrates says, yeah, it's. Thank God for global warming. Just think how cold it'd be right now if it wasn't for it. Yeah. Well, and the thing that they'll, if you say that, the thing they'll come back with is climate change, and I don't think any of us here are going to argue that the climate changes. I don't. That's not that's not where the argument lies. The argument lies in exactly what causes it and exactly what the solution should be. And in my opinion, if anybody says that the solution is the government taxing us more, then that's the wrong solution, because the taxing stuff never improves anything. It may put money in politicians' pockets and votes in the ballot box for them, but you show me a case where in the long run anything's been proven. Skane says it's only supposed to get around to 9, but the wind chill will be negative. Yeah, and you guys, man, I kind of feel for you guys there, Skanes, because you guys aren't used to that type of weather. I was talking with somebody from Texas, and they're really concerned that it's going to get so cold that their electric grid's going to have problems again. And quite honestly, around here, this is just another winter. To be honest with you, it's starting a little early from what I remember, and it's bad. Tech says, I talked to a global marketing giant today. He told me Black Friday and Xmas sales were down 62%. Yeah, I saw a video today of the mad rush at a store on Black Friday, and they threw the doors open and like 3 people walked through, which is crazy. People, and I got something I want to talk about that here. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, I was reading an article today, and I did not put where it was from. But anyway, the title was U.S. Recession May Strike in September 2023 as Fed continues to fight Bidenflation. The 10-year, 2-year yield curve inverted for 112 straight days. And here's the key part of what this article said that got my attention. Hey, Mark, how you doing? The key part was the deterioration in the outlook was most significant in the one that relies on the 3-month to 18-month forward spread. Fed Chair Jerome Powell's favorite model. That's the guy that's running the Fed right now, which now sees a 59% chance of a recession next year compared with almost 0 6 months ago. Yield curve models see the strongest signal for the recession starting around September 2023. And that September 2023 number really is the one. Mark, Yoda's out sick today. She's got that upper respiratory thing, and she's not feeling real well. I didn't want her sitting next to me getting me sick. Plus, she's coughing away. But the September 2023 number is what really got me, because if you get online and you listen to some of the experts and they start talking about the fertilizer shortage, the global market on that hasn't increased. It's not gotten any better since the thing started back in February in Ukraine. And they are predicting that after the winter wheat planting this year, that the on-hand stocks, everything that was on the shelves, are going to be depleted in the United States. And they said that come September, October timeframe of 2023 is when the shortages in food because of the spring planting is not going to have as much fertilizer. The shortages of that food will start manifesting itself, and we'll start seeing it in the very least in the agricultural supply chain. The from the farm to the table chain. And I thought it was, the timing may be coincidental. We can argue whether it's a controlled demolition or if it's just stuff happening all at the same time. But I think, in my opinion, those two factors right there um, could create a perfect storm. You know. Oh, who's being a lurker? Yoda's being a lurker. Oh, okay. Uh, See, and Hex or Life Done Free, exactly what I was going to say. We have to create our own economy. If you fail to, you will be hungry. Um, amen. I cannot I cannot talk enough about, or cannot preach enough about how important that is. And it's not only building our own alternative income streams. We create those alternative economies by working with other people. One of the big things that we did at the potluck that we had last time, and the homesteading potluck, um, was we had sheets out and everybody signed up. Got everybody's contact information, and everybody put down the skills of what they could do, and what tradable skills they had, and what they had to trade. And I it's it looks like we may have a little bit of time, but it's getting it's going to get short. The window is not getting any wider. It's closing up. Joseph G says we got to stuck up on things. We can't make our mind ourselves. Yeah. Find those holes. Do an audit. One of the questions Thursday night was, what's the first thing you do if you hear bad things are going to happen? And my answer was, do an audit. Figure out where your holes are and start plugging them as best you can. Kentucky Sustainable Living says we have a spreadsheet started for all the members in our Kentucky group. It has what every member raises or skills they can offer to members. Amen. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. And if your area, if you haven't done that yet, I highly recommend that you guys go do that. Build that alternative economy. And then I got a couple other things. These are Joseph G. More salt and steel. Here's a couple other things. That what we need, why we need to prepare, and why we need to start doing these. Before I go on, let's see. RN says, if you want a 3-month to 12-month view of future price, look at the commodities futures for the price of fuel, sugar, and lumber. Yep. So did you guys hear about California this week? So late last week, there was a 3.5 earthquake in San Francisco. And then just yesterday, there was a 6.4 magnitude in Humboldt County, which is up north of San Francisco, followed by a 4.5 and a 3.1. Now, those were the aftershocks. Now, having been through several earthquakes, I can tell you right now that 6.4 is a good roll, but it's not anything I would call as a huge earthquake. But it's a good reminder to people that we need to start looking at these things, and we need to prepare our homesteads. If you're not homesteading, you're just prepping, you need to start getting ready for that. This cold weather coming in is another reason why we need to look at our homesteads and figure out what hole we're missing. Kentucky Sustainable in his video talked about getting the generators out and firing them up. Excuse me. I haven't done that since this summer, and because of the way I dumped everything in the outbuilding, I'm going to have to throw that door open out in the cold and pull stuff out so I can get to the generator and pull it up to the front of the outbuilding so I can test it. And it just completely slipped my mind, to be truthful. Let's see. Kentucky says we need some doctors and dentists in our group. Those are always good. And Skanes Girl says, I'm still working on my spreadsheet master list for everything, absolutely stocking up on things I cannot provide myself. And while you're doing that, Skanes, find people that can provide you with the stuff that you can't produce yourself. But there's all kinds of reminders out there right now as to why we're we're trying to find this modern self-sufficiency that we're always talking about. If you haven't heard us talk about that, modern self-sufficiency is the ability to handle whatever problems you may face with the tools, skills, and material you have on hand. That's why it's very important to do that. I prepping prepping is a finite solution to what could be an infinite problem. So we need to get our head wrapped around that and start moving in that direction as well as we can. Tag says also work on changing your needs to things you can control between yourself and your community. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yoda and I were just having that conversation the other day, as a matter of fact. Um, how we're too reliant on third party input for stuff. So we need to fix that. Just I'm buying multiples of stuff to make sure each of my kid will have it when they grow up. Yep, and that's why honestly that's why we started building. Whether they appreciate it or not, who knows? We're going to do the best we can though. Now, here's something else. This is something else I ran across. And so I don't know if you guys have been following the news, but Rhode Island had a lawsuit. They had a high capacity magazine ban in place recently, and they somebody sued the government. And just today, a U.S. district judge upheld the ban. Okay, and this is what he wrote. I want you guys to listen to this very carefully. And there's two things wrong in this sentence, and one of them is going to jump out at you. The other one, some of you will catch it on the first try, but it's kind of sneaky. So, U.S. District Court Chief Judge John J. McConnell Jr. wrote, "The ban was a reasonable and measured approach to restricting large capacity magazines, which in practice easily convert handguns into semi-automatic weapons capable of rapid fire." Okay, but in the chat, what I just read, if I need to read it again, let me know. What I just read, what are the two things in there that are just jump out at you about it? And I'll give you a couple minutes. You guys talk about it. Hippocrates says, some of this is why I sold my cruiser motorcycle, got a 3,000cc dual sport. Go almost anywhere at 70 miles per hour. Can't completely get off petroleum, but no need to have a 20 gallon per mile pickup. Yep. Jonathan says, because a handgun cannot rapid fire without a 17 round mag. Yep. Tag says, thou shall not be infringed. Sounds reasonable to me. Okay. He's edge. Okay. The convert handguns into semi weapons capable of rapid fire. Okay. Here's my take on that. For God's sake, if you're going to try to take people's Second Amendment rights away, at least know what you're talking about. I mean, that is such a that statement is just so. I don't want to use the word stupid. Uninformed, is that the right one? It's just crazy, that part of it. But tag danced around the edge of it. The shall not be infringed sounds reasonable. The ban was a reasonable and measured approach. Okay, now if you go back and go back if you have not done it and listen to our "What Is Freedom" series, and we talk about this almost constantly. It almost came up every single episode. Reasonable and measured is not a yardstick that we judge these things on. We do not. That is not what it's judged on. What it's judged on is if it's constitutional or not constitutional. Because reasonable and measured has nothing to. In fact, if you ask me, the Constitution of the United States is pretty darn unreasonable. It says what it says, and you can't get around what it says. I'm going to show that, Joseph G. Your anti-gunner comment probably going to get me in trouble, but that's okay. But, you know, uh, Tag says measured equals planned. Yep. Can Squatch says essentially the judge said the mag is an accessory, not part of the firearm. Basically, yeah. Um, Jonathan, I bet the judge thinks food comes from the grocery store and doesn't realize meat is from animals. I won't go that far. I won't talk about him like that. But what he said wasn't very intelligent in my book. And but that was it's just that type of stuff. So this is the reason, and I know I'm pointing you guys back to something on our channel, but don't just do our channel. Go find other channels that talk about the Constitution, and you'll see that that's not a yardstick that we measure these things on. Ken Squatch, he may be Obama appointed, but Bush appointed and Trump appointed judges have done the same exact thing. And I think it's just um, I think it's just a sign of where the judicial system is. And so that's why it's important. In fact, I was talking with somebody about it this past election cycle. I never really paid attention to judges. I always just voted them out. I always put no, and very, very rarely do they get voted out because people like, yeah, I haven't heard anything. I don't know anything about the guy, so I'll just do them. But we need to start paying attention to these things, and this is why we're constantly talking about the being involved in local politics, because these district court judges do not just magically appear. They come up from below. And so it's important in our communities that we have a judiciary that is constitutionally minded and understands who they work for. Rescue, how's it going? Yep, it was a decent day. All things considered. All things considered, it was too damn cold. You know, like Tag says, we cannot be free playing by the rules of our masters. The rules are designed to enslave you. Yep. That was a constant theme throughout that entire series that we did. And the thing is that they trick us. Yeah, they trick us, and I use that loosely, because a lot of people allow themselves to be tricked, and I don't know if you guys, if you heard me say this before, I apologize, but I'm going to say it again. So I've always stood by true change will not come in this country until soccer moms and NASCAR dads are looking in the starving faces of their children. Yeah, manipulated is a good word there, Tag. So that won't happen. No change will happen until they're looking into the faces of their children. And I said that to somebody this week, and they said something that was so simple and so profound that it kind of shook me to my core a little bit. But the response I got back was, no, true change in this country is going to be whenever they take away people's high fructose corn syrup and their TV. That's when true change is going to happen. And I was like, you can't argue with it. You cannot argue with it. Look at New York as an example. Look at how they live under the thumb of government. When was the last time you can remember New Yorkers getting really upset about something and truly pitching a fit with their government? Give you a couple of seconds to think about it. And once I tell you, you'll be like, yeah, you're right. Think about it. It was when not blackouts. It was when they decided to take away their 32-ounce sodas. They got all up in arms. You can't argue with it. Kentucky says, I've always said when Starbucks isn't open and Netflix doesn't work, you will have mad people. Amen. Kick EBT cards onto that, and you got the makings of some bad times. Texas, remember the 1984 example. of chocolate rations. The TV will never go away. Yep, that's the one thing they will make sure always runs. Oh, yep, it was Bloomberg. I was trying to remember who did it, but I couldn't remember, and I didn't want to sound like an idiot by saying the wrong name. Thanks for saving me, Ken Squatch. But it's just, and it goes back to the whole how much are we willing to tolerate? If you're listening to me right now, or you're over on Tag's channel, or you're on Hacks, or you're on Kentucky Sustainables, or on Rescues live that he does on a regular basis, you've already gotten to the point where you're fed up, and you're already looking for a way to get off that roadway that they have for us that has very few exit ramps, and they guard every exit ramp with caution because they don't want people getting off. But it's just that's why it's so important to be doing what we're doing here. Building community, building those alternative economies, learning about the Constitution, learning what it truly means. And that was one of the big things that I said on the last episode of that Freedom series was I learned so much about something I thought I knew a lot more about. Oh, I'm sorry. The cat just knocked over a box. Oh, look at that. Earthquake. Okay, Tech says we cannot play that game. It will not work. We have to remove our production. And it's we had that conversation during the live on Thursday. That came up. We have to choose. We have to choose when and where we battle this, and the more often we choose to battle it, the more often we're going to be able to battle it. So we need to make sure that we're always looking for that little bit of freedom. Hex says, you mean the digital prison? Yep. Yoda says, it's about breaking chains and getting out of the system they have trained us all to be in. Yep, we grow up from the time we were born, we're in it. Go out there after we're done here, even if you don't like rap music. Tom McDonald, he's an independent rapper, and he was actually on number 8 on the Billboard chart for the end of the year, and he's the only independent rapper on their list. He does everything out of his house, and he's actually, I won't call it, he's a libertarian is what he is, but he promotes values that we're going. But he has a song called "The System." Go listen to it. It's pretty enlightening. Jonathan, how many people watched Black Mirror and didn't get permanently haunted by it? Oh, absolutely. That was back when we had cable TV. I watched that and it's like, yep, that's just right around the corner. Tech says they want us to protest so they can claim we are free. It's a predetermined outcome. Well, they want us to protest in a way that they approve of. That's the whole thing. That it's how they approve. January 6th was not one that they approve of, and we saw what happened. But I'm not. Listen, I'm not on here to be political tonight. I'm sorry if I'm coming off as political. I'm not trying to be. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get people to think about this stuff, and know that we're about providing white pills. All these things are going on in the world, and we're trying to figure out how to get through it and do it all together. Joseph G, I've been in a lot of people's homes, garages, and basements. I'm always amazed how totally unequipped the overwhelming majority of people are. Amen, Joseph. I stopped by Dollar General on the way home from work to get that stuff for Angela. I'm in there, and I was only in there for like 3 minutes. I saw one person. Now, mind you, it's 21 degrees out here today, and it was the wind chill made it feel like 12. There was one person that was in there with no socks on and a light jacket. There was another person that came in with shorts on. and there was another one in there that just had a windbreak on. Um, just it amazes me that people. What happens if your car breaks down and you're 5 or 6 miles away from home? What are you going to do? You know. Um, okay, let me catch up on Texas. I disagree. Look at what they did with Jan 6. It was a dream come true. Yes, it was for them. But their Reichstag didn't work out quite as well as what they thought it was going to. They opened the doors. Anyone try saltwater jugs for livestock tanks? Yes, we have done that before, SG, and they do kind of work. Um, the whole thing is that they don't freeze and they bob up and down and they keep the water turned up, uh, keep the water moving so it doesn't freeze. But when it gets down to like below zero, um, it it'll freeze up. It'll freeze up. They do work in the upper teens and 20s though. They do work pretty well. Yeah. See, Yoda just confirmed what I said. Joseph G. A vast majority of only have enough winter clothing to transition from building to car. Yep. And even then, it's not very good. It's not very good clothing. I mean, let's see. Let's see in chat how many people have a buddy heater right now. They have a buddy heater in their house. Just a little 1 pound propane buddy heater. Probably the cheapest and simplest way you can heat a room up. Uh, Kentucky says, "Great love tonight. Got to do a few things. I'll watch the rest later tomorrow. Hit me up when you get a chance, please." Will do. I've been meaning to talk to you so we can do a hunting chat, a hunting live stream next week. But I'll get with you. Jonathan, I've been attending a lot of garage sales lately, looking for small odds and ends, um, and it's sometimes astonishing how much useless junk people pile up. Not that I'm perfect or anything. Oh, amen. When we moved, every time we moved, I was just how much crap you accumulate. You know, um, I've only I've only known one person that when they moved, actually all the excess crap they had was uh, was actually survival prepper stuff, um, and yeah, and they had to get rid of a lot of it just because they didn't have the room. Yes, a kerosene radiant heater is far superior to a buddy heater, but I was just trying to tag. I'm just trying to get people to think what do they have on hand. Uh, what does, in the a buddy heater is probably the simplest thing they've got. I don't. Joseph G says I don't accumulate crap. Everything I have is important. Well, that's good. That puts you well ahead of a lot of people. Put you. You know what? I'm useful crap. Yeah. Um, I'm gonna say we really did trim down. I'm sure we've got some knickknacks and stuff like that still need to be unpacked once we get everything going. But we really trimmed down the crap. I mean, we don't have nearly as much as what we had. Most everything we had serves a purpose of some sort. But let's see, what else did I come up with? Oh, here's one. Okay, the these two. Actually, let me talk about this first. So here's the headline: White students are prohibited from applying to this UNC fellowship. Okay, the reason why I'm bringing this up is the fact that institutions are now openly saying that racism is okay, and it's not the fact that it's white students that bothers me. It's the fact that they're putting somebody's skin color ahead of everything else, and that's where our society's gotten. And again, this is why it's important for our communities. Uh, yeah, tag. Not all of us can afford an Amish wagon. Not all of us can afford a hay burner to pull the dang thing either. Um, but it's this whole thing about skin color. I mean, um, what Joseph say? Racist, but skin color is not a race. Okay, I'll accept that. I'll accept that. But the white students and Caucasian students are interchangeable in this case. But and it, we shouldn't be worried about that, and we can't let institutions in our communities behave like this. We need to make sure that we're pushing people to. We got to get past this seriously. There's enough dividing us right now. We don't need other things like this. Um, uh, Jonathan says it's all part of the long game to change the definition of words to suit their agendas. Yep, and we've seen that if you can control the language, you can control the culture. Uh, okay, Caucasian's not a race. All right, it's an ethnicity. Yes, correct. Um, Hack says, "Hey, get everything at Hack's place gets used sooner or later, like the door on the chicken coop." Yeah, he's gonna have to share that story with us at some point. Maybe do a video on it. But I saw that, and it boggles my mind that all the strides that we've made have been destroyed over the last 6-8 years because of that. Um, well, yeah, it was one certain political party, but I'm going to say that political party is not represented by just one political party now. It's represented by a spectrum of people on the freedom and anti-freedom scale. Let's just put it that way, because there are people that are not in that party that are perfectly fine with it and they promote it. Okay, so here come the last two things. Uh, uh, we tuckered her out, folks. Here's the last two things I want to talk about. I wanted to bring up. The first one, this this was said today, and this is a burr under my saddle. Mitch McConnell suggests funding Ukraine with your tax dollars is number one priority for the United States. And I heard this on multiple outlets. They were talking about this. So funding the Ukraine with our taxpayer dollars is the number one priority. Not securing our border, not the fentanyl problem, not everything else. It's funding the Ukraine. Ah, my God, I can't even begin to tell you how much that irritates me. Again, go back and watch our Freedom series and find the episodes where we're talking about taxation and what the government's roles are, and you'll see exactly how far. And this guy's the nominal leader in the Senate. Is it the Senate or the House? I don't remember where McConnell's in the Senate. You know, that just that just blows my mind that these people think like that, and they're so far removed from what we are. And here's the last one, and this is I'm getting kind of close to the end of what I was going to talk about. Give me a second. Let me pull this back up. Uh, oh my gosh, this I know this was going to set people off. I know this is going to set people off. This came out this afternoon. Nancy Pelosi sent out a letter to every person in the House Democratic caucus that told them that all House members need to be physically present for Wednesday's special session. So the wording of the letter was it's very important for the future of our democracy, and she did it with a capital D. That means that something bad for our nation is going to happen. Something they're going to try to push something through tomorrow, or they're going to announce something tomorrow that is not good for the nation, not good for you and I. All right. Um, I'm sure it will be lauded by the MSN media or the mainstream media. I'm sure it will be lauded by the low information voters. But seeing everything that's going on in the world right now, I think we need to buckle up and be prepared for whatever special session this treat they're going to pop on us. Um, it's just, and again, I'm not trying to black pill people. This is just one of those things that we need to pay attention to. and we need to watch what they're doing and figure out how to counter it and figure out how to fortify our positions against what they're doing. Jonathan says if it's his priority, he should be emptying his own bank. You know what, Jonathan? There's that little thing on the tax form that says, "Do you want to donate some tax money?" And I guarantee you, none of those people in Congress have ever checked that before. I got some real problems with Trump. I was not a Trump supporter. The only reason I voted for him the first time was because the alternative was so much worse. And I voted for him the second time. And he's literally the only president since I started voting that I voted for because I thought he was the right man for the job at the time. The one thing he did that I got great respect for was that he did not take a salary. He 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 used taxpayer money for the the office, to keep the office running, but he did not take a salary, which in his pocketbook that's not really a big thing, um, but just the gesture, the fact that he didn't have to do something like that and he thought about doing it, um, was enough for me to take notice, and I really appreciate the fact that he did that, you know. And then, well, I don't want to talk about him either, just that's a sore subject too. But so that's all. That's really all I had tonight. I kind of knew this was going to be a shorter one, unless you guys want to keep going. If you guys got some topics you want to discuss, let's talk about it. That's what this is about. The homestead. This next week, I'm gonna be doing a lot inside because it's gonna be so cold here. Now the cool thing is this office that I'm sitting in, this time last year, um, there would have been a quarter inch of ice on the wall right here, and you could have seen my breath. I would have had to been bundled completely up in order to be in this office. So this is one of the things that we got done this year, and it's actually I got a little electric radiant heater right here, that it's keeping it tolerable. I mean, I'm wearing my stocking cap because I always wear it in the wintertime, but it's tolerable. So if I can get the rest of the house furred in and get some insulation on it, we'll be a lot better off. And I'm going to start working on the pantry next weekend. It's supposed to be in the 30s, 20s and 30s on Monday. And the first step of working on the pantry is I have to raise a door 8.5 inches up because it's sitting down on the concrete, and I'm in order to put joists in, I have to raise it up so it's level with the rest of the floor in the building. And to do that, I'm going to have to take a cutting wheel and cut into the metal on the outside of the building in order to make the hole big enough. So I'm going to have for about 4 or 5 hours, I'm going to have a door-sized hole in the side of the house. But it's on the other end, and hopefully it won't be too terribly bad. But that's just the stuff we got to do. And once the pantry's done, like I said, it's going to open up a whole lot of other possibilities, so we can start working on some of the major structural problems in this portion of the house that I'm in. Uh, but right now, we managed to patch some holes up, put in a door frame that before I put the door frame in, you could see daylight all around the frame and all around the door. Um, so it's doing good. And I plugged a hole that's in the side of the house from a window that got broken, and it's just plugging along, getting stuff done. I don't know if you watched the chicken coop video about moving the chickens. I managed to get all the wood picked up out of the chicken yard, so it actually looks pretty decent in there. RN says, any ideas about how to protect turnip patch uh, from 9 degrees without harvesting everything? Straw. Go get a couple of bales of straw and pile it on there about 6 to 8 inches thick. Just loosely spread it across, and you should be okay. Turnips are turnips are pretty hardy. Jonathan, the coop is as ready as it's going to get. Tag and I were talking about everything it takes to get all that stuff ready. But chickens are pretty hardy. As long as you keep water available for them, and you up their food intake, they'll eat a lot more to stay warm. Uh, they'll be okay. They they jump, they get on top of each other and they fluff up, and the worst you'll have whenever it gets cold like that, as long as they're out of the wind chill, um, it won't be negative 30, 31, 41 degrees on. They'll stay inside. They're not dumb. The worst you'll have when it gets down below freezing with your chickens is their combs will get frostbite, and you'll see little black spots appear on them. Yep. See, we got Joseph said pile straw and tag agrees. In fact, any root vegetable that you've still got in the ground, if you cover it with straw or mulch, you should be okay. Row cover material, I would still put. You say row cover material, and my mind immediately goes to weed barrier type of stuff, but I know that's not what you're talking about. But yeah, they're pretty hardy. In fact, I probably ought to go out and put some stuff over the horseradish that we got. Probably got to do that tomorrow morning before I go to work. Good news about this cold weather is I've got Thursday off as well. They canceled all but essential people because it's going to be so cold. Our snow days for our office are based off the local school district. So if the local school district closes up shop because of inclement weather, we close up shop because a lot of the parents have kids in the local school district. So I'm not going to complain about that one bit. Wind will be out of the northwest. Yep, and it's going to be blowing cold too. Actually, that's one of the reasons. If you look at our videos, it's one of the reasons why I put everything situated the way it is, so that like the chicken coop has the transom windows are on a southern exposure, so that it gets good daylight even in the wintertime. That'll help keep it warm. The loafing shed is set up so that the wind has to come out of the southwest in order for it to get inside the loafing shed. I'm sure it'll blow around and stuff. And if it gets bad enough, I can actually put a heating lamp out there. Hacks Darren made a great. He's got a great video about a warming barrel for baby goats and sheep. That was really useful. Let's see. Hippocrates says, "Good news, bad news. Good news. Multiple deer coming into the backyard. Bad news. Bad news is they come after it's too dark to use a crossbow." I saw 9 of them today. I didn't see a single one. I take it back. I saw a couple, but they were not any place. But I saw 9 of them today. So I'm hoping during doe